On this Saturn archives, I read the lengthy manual and enter a house so dead it makes the garage look alive. As usual, skip ahead to the time on your screen if you want to get straight to gameplay. So this is The House of the Dead. One of my favorite games, one of my favorite game series. This is based on the monstrous arcade hit, and I think that's a fine way to describe it. Let's jump right in because there is a lot to get to. I'm not gonna bother with all the dates. You can see them if you really need to know. This is a stupid fictional story, so it does not matter. There have been reports of research personnel missing at the DBR Corporation Genetic Engineering Center. This clandestine laboratory is governmentally funded to conduct experiments into the weapons potential of artificially generated and sustained life forms. Due to the sensitive nature of these researches, news of the disappearances was not made public. Yes, one must take care not to startle the sheep before the slaughter. The adrenaline spoils the flavor of the meat. A team of special operatives was dispatched to the laboratory to investigate suspicious activities by Dr. Curian, the former director of DBR. The following is a transcript of the garbled final transmission from the team. Dr. Curian's project is in its final stages. If the media gets a hold of... What the... Request immediate backup. We're getting creamed out here. The research staff is in danger. They left out the part where he started screaming, "Oh no, get it off me, it's eating my brains." The decision has come down from above to send two crack agents, Thomas Rogan and G, to investigate the status of the missing research staff and the team of operatives. Agent Rogan has taken a special interest in the case as his fiancée, Sophie Richards, is employed by DBR. That's a little something I didn't know. And he already put money down on the ring. Do we really need this uncomfortable commentary? Mission objectives: determine the nature of Curian's research, conduct a sweep of the site and confirm the status of the research staff and special ops team, take defensive action as appropriate, and assist any survivors. Survivors? There weren't even any leftovers, but we'd love to have you for dinner. I guess that was Dr. Curian. I guess he's the one. All the black boxes with text are just Dr. Curian being a dickhead, maybe. Skipping past the basic option stuff, and normally I'd skip past the basic game stuff too, but they put so much here that I want to appreciate it and bring attention to it. Welcome to my estate. I trust you'll find your stay here a pleasant one. I'm afraid I won't be able to come greet you personally, but I've sent some of my creations to make you feel right at home. I've prepared some wonderful surprises for you. Here's hoping you enjoy them. I leave you with these instructions in the hopes of making this an enriching experience for all involved. You see, I'm a firm believer of the value of an education. A brain is a terrible thing to waste. So we learn about reloading. They might get away with a bottomless cup of bullets in the movies, but this is reality. Oh, right? Sometimes your gun runs dry. When it does, the message reload appears on screen. Press the reload button on your controller device or aim your stunner off screen and pull the trigger to fill her up with lead. We learn about forking paths. In arcade and Saturn modes, the course of the game changes depending on how you play. There are several crucial turning points in each stage where your actions determine the course. The path will lead you into different parts of the DBR grounds. Some paths are easier than others. Pay attention as you fight your way through each stage to discover which route is the best for you. And of course there's hidden items, a lot of which I missed out. When you're not occupied by the armies of undead, try shooting barrels, skulls, and other likely containers that appear in the background. They occasionally contain hidden items, such as life-ups, that will help you in your fight. Shoot an item you have uncovered to acquire it. We're going to go ahead and skip past the game over and name entry part. That's pretty straightforward. And there's a lot here to sink our teeth into. Alright, skipping past all the options, because there's so much text in this little booklet. So we're going to learn about Chateau Rogan number 9. This big jug red greets you at uncorking with a firm attack. Fleshy and full of extract. Plenty of body with overtones of hemoglobin and a rich plasma robustness, but never lumpy or clotted. Its challenging nose is bold and sanguinary, with an aggressive character that demands your full attention. A long, extraordinary ceramy finish completes the overall effect, making this a must-drink for connoisseur and neophyte alike. Serve with fava beans. And I guess it goes on to describe him as if he was a wine. I mean, I guess if you're a player reading this, you have your own text, but what if you're a zombie reading this? This is going to be important to you. So this Thomas Rogan character, his codename is the Eager Eagle. Agent Rogan has proved his dedication countless times under trying conditions. Despite his reputation for being a hothead, he displays keen judgment and decision-making under fire. Rogan recently became engaged to DBR employee Miss Sophie Richards and has met Dr. Curian several times in the past. So let's learn about G, once again starting with the zombie side. Liquor sanguinis Adela G. A dry but filling puckery mouthfeel with an intriguing gout de pierre à fusil characterizes this small, varietal white. Its problematic, possibly over-complex body may take you off guard with the depth of its leukocyte finesse and underlying metallic prickle. The high globulin count recommends thorough decanting lest the flavor become medicinal. In all, a respectable table blood at its best with pasta, fish, and even pizza for the adventurous palate. I am having a really hard time getting through these. I am not a wine connoisseur, so all these words and the way they are worded are just falling right out of my brain. You'd think that G was his nickname, but his name is G. His codename is Silver Fang. G is approximately 35 to 40 years of age, but little else is known of Agent Rogan's partner's shadowy past. He devotes himself fully to the prosecution of his duties with an objectivity and preciseness that has been described as digital. And even though we won't be playing as Sophie, we gotta learn about her. She is a Richards blush petite. Fresh, young, and clean, begs to be drunk. The charming aroma beggars description. Layers of jammy platelets, lymph, venous gore, beta-globulin, and a round, uncontrived, plummy afterglow. The flavor more than lives up to the promise of the nose, lush, seductive, and supple. Perhaps a trifle blousy, but not over-rich. A corpuscular, smooth mouthfeel leaves the tongue aching for more. This may be the perfect libation for the holiday feasting season. Very highly recommended indeed. Alright, stumbled my way through that. Now the more straight text. Sophie Richards. She doesn't have a cool nickname. Miss Sophie Richards is employed as a researcher by DBR and has recently been working on the top-secret bioreactor project. She is engaged to be married to Agent Thomas Rogan. She may look like just another pretty genius bioengineer, but she's got spirit too, and she'll need every drop of spunk she can muster to escape Dr. Curian's clutches. Now, I had no idea that there was a relationship thing involved here, because when you meet Sophie, and after what happens to her, the characters don't seem particularly emotionally invested, so this is new to me. On the other side, instead of having a CG image, this appears to just be a real photo of a man. So I guess Dr. Curian was a real person. The distinguished Dr. Curian cuts an impressive figure. He was employed for some time by DBR Corp. As research director and is the inventor of the bioreactor system. Before his sudden transformation, he led the DBR research program aggressively and commanded the admiration and respect of his staff, including Sophie Richards. Born of a noble family, Curian lived with his son in a mansion built in medieval times. Now, we don't hear about this son during this game, but he does come up eventually in House of the Dead 3. Whew, now if you thought we were nearly over, I've got some bad fucking news for you. Because, yeah, we're going to read about all the zombies, too. Because, I've never looked at this manual, despite playing this game like 100 times, so I need to know. Yes, these are the kinds of breakthrough results that are possible when experiments are carried out scientifically, without undue mushy sentiment for the human test subjects or other ridiculous ethical qualms. So we got this regular Jackamoke on the side here, pretty common. The Sam series is where it all got started. The rotting zombie stagger, the dangling intestines, the lovely cyanic blue. In some ways, I consider to be my masterpiece. That's why I made so many of them. I've given them free run of the DBR grounds, and I'm sure they'll greet you with hospitality in the best Curian tradition. And then we got these things. I don't know exactly what happened here. I was really just puttering around the lab, seeing what I could come up with, and the Evitan series is the result. I like to consider it a learning experience, not a mistake. Granted, they're hideously ugly and they smell awful when they melt, but they have some flaws as well. For one thing, I can't keep them out of the swimming pool. Oh yeah, the real gross ones. These ones are my favorite. After my experience with those gloppy Evitans, I decided to try out something a little drier for a change. So I cooked up this mummy series, loosely based on a Japanese model I ran across in a trade journal. They seem to favor humid spots to keep from drying out, and they like to attack by biting, but then, who among us doesn't? Now we're the big chainsaw dude. The Samson series is a beefed up reanimated cadaver with sturdy meat construction. This is a hard manual to read. It takes more than just one gaping head wound to bring down one of these workhorses, and just hand one a chainsaw and look at it go. It's like a kid with a new toy on Christmas morning. It makes this old man's heart swell to think that I could bring that kind of joy into the world. Now we get the muscular guys, missing the skin on one arm. Hey kids, now you can make your own Simon series zombie at home. Puree 280 pounds of canned ham, 4 quarts of recombinant DNA, and a pinch of Doc Curion's animating powder. Jolt with 2.5 gigawatts to a gooey consistency. Cool in a mold 6 to 8 hours until gelled. Garnish with teeth and fingernails to taste. And of course I wanted to learn more about these weird looking things. We see so many odd creatures beyond zombies. That's what I really wanted to get into. So this is the Rubin model. Is a prototype from what I like to think of as my creative phase. I guess I went a little overboard. The skin-tight suits, the claws, the leather masks, and snap-brim hats. What was I thinking? But they're vicious little thugs that don't know how to say die. And you can't argue with that kind of success. And then down here we have some silly ones. You say you want killer monkeys? Not a problem. Like maggots? We've got maggots. Oddly enough, quite a few zombies are left out. Like the big guys that swing the giant balls around, or the Pepsi Man zombies, as I like to call them. But that's all the zombies that got coverage in this book. However, there's still a lot more to read. We got some words of advice from the AMS director. I was there when the action got hot at Dunwich, and I saw my share of horror scenes on the Miskatonic Delta, so listen hard to what I'm going to say. I know what I'm talking about. To fight the undead, you've got to learn to think like the undead, and that means one thing: no hesitation. Pretty excited to see a little Lovecraft up in here. Now, I know you've been trained in crisis negotiation, non-lethal restraint, and maintaining feel-good relations with the public. It's enough to suck the fight right out of you. But all that happy horsewash goes out the window when you're battling subhuman zombies. Now it's time to go high caliber and leave some exit wounds you can be proud of. Every monster has a weak spot, and it's usually its brain. Put one between the eyes and drop the monster with a single shot, but try to avoid getting hit by the spray. Kill the head and the body will die, eventually. If there aren't many zombies around and you have time to get creative, try shooting off all 4 limbs for a change of pace. The number of destructive combinations is almost endless. With the power of today's technology, your only limit is your own imagination. Try not to shoot the hostages. It costs you a life, and the paperwork will keep you at the office till 3 in the morning. And occasionally, a grateful survivor will give you an extra life torch as an expression of thanks. Keep your eyes peeled for turning points where your route gets decided. One pull of the trigger at a critical moment could mean the difference between slogging your way through a path hip-deep in brain-hungry cadavers and a cakewalk to the stage end. Trust your gut and learn from experience. When you've cleared an area of monsters, shoot at objects in the background. You may uncover some items to help you in your fight. Shoot an item and pick it up, but don't get caught with an empty clip. Zombies have a knack for jumping out of the shadows at the worst times. One thing I want to mention is, a lot of times you might want to go for objects first, because when all the zombies are dead, the view just tends to change. And then we just got some screenshots with some more goofy commentary, and there's so much of it. You know what, if you want to find this, if you want to read all this goofy commentary, you got to find it yourself. Because I'm just getting a little tired of reading. And then we got this one. This next page is an advertisement for the Stunner. Stun your parents, stun your friends, stun the world. Another thing that's a bit more uncomfortably implicit about, guns in the public. And then we have some fun quotes. Here's what real people like you are saying about the Sega Stunner. The Stunner gives me power on demand. Now I can clean up messy rooms full of the living dead with just a few quick pulls of the finger. Oh, this is from someone called Tom Rogan. Yeah, that's a real person like me. It provides me with a simple and elegant solution to all of my zombie disposal needs. Oh, someone named G said that. The Dayglow orange color scheme means I can wear it as part of my workday attire. or coordinate with an outfit for a night on the town. That's from a Sophie Richards, completely unrelated to this game. These are real people, just like me. Alright, so let's just dive right in. For a quick warning, while this super long load screen goes on for, because I know this is a very long one, this is not going to be a full playthrough of House of the Dead. This is going to be very hard, because the Saturn version is quite poor, which is unfortunate, because House of the Dead 1, it exists on Saturn. It exists on PC, not even on Steam, and it exists in the arcade. And that's it. Oh yeah. Oh, fucking shot. I killed them both. Reload is C, not B. That's going to take some getting used to, because in Maximum Force, it was B. And I probably could have switched that up. In fact, I think I'm going to do that. Yeah, I was doing a real bang-up job of murdering innocent scientists, wasn't I? Let's see if I can do a little better this time. So, back to House of the Dead. Again, this will not be a full LP, because I don't expect to make it to the end. This game can be pretty tough. Oh, that was... You know what, for a controller, that was pretty fucking impressive. You can't tell me it wasn't. You cannot tell me that was not a great job. That's even kind of hard to do with a mouse sometimes. But yeah, I've played this on PC. The reason why I'm not too worried about this being a full playthrough or not is because I played the PC version with my friend Christine, and we made it to the end. So a better looking version of this video exists. This is just for the sake of experiencing the Saturn version. And let's see how far we can get. There is a guy coming up. I'm pretty sure we saved this guy and went ahead, so I'm going to intentionally let him get tossed. Because by letting him get tossed, you actually, the path goes down here. So that's just a little something different to see. Again, that video was done like 100 years ago, and I haven't watched it recently or anything, so it's whatever. And you know, despite this game being pretty ugly, and running into a bit of a problem we're about to encounter, right? Oh no, not quite yet. The game actually runs pretty smoothly most of the time, and here's that thing, is the mid-level loading parts. This doesn't exist in any other version. This, the entire level can be played without any loading. Just the initial loading, and then the entire first, second, third, fourth, and level. Can I even kill those bats that aren't doing anything right now? I mean, you know, it's a mean question. I really shouldn't be. It's none of my business. To be honest, I think I'm doing pretty good. I think that that Maximum Force warm-up has really gotten me into it. And like having reload as C, that's like all the way across the controller. You want to have that reload like right there. Also, I think those zombies that I just killed, I like their types the best because they're just the grossest. They have no clothes. They're just all wrinkly and gross. And they're not as common. I think like they're mostly on that path, and then not a whole lot. We have a bunch of group of different dudes here. Of course, you got the big old lumberjack guy. Gotta open that. Ooh! Oh, damn it. That was a real mess, wasn't it? Yeah, I'm taking a lot of hits here. I don't think I've used to continue yet. Kind of excited to see how far I'm going to get. And another loading screen. We haven't even gone all that far. Oh, that one was unfair. Did you see that? Come on. That was just stealing a life. I feel like if there wasn't a load there, I might have been able to get that. Oh, the 2 maggots. And then the next one's going to have like 4 on it, right? If I remember correctly. Oh yeah, amp up that difficulty. They're pretty easy to hit though. I think they have fairly large hitboxes. Wow, I don't even think I shot the axe out of the air. It just simply whiffed. You know, all the shit I was giving this game for being pretty ugly. It runs better than I was expecting. I had always heard that it ran so poorly and it looked terrible.
Thank you.
And it's like, yeah, but the original game didn't look all that great to begin with. Like even the PC version, playing on like the highest settings you can get without modding it, didn't look a whole lot better than this. Admittedly, the textures, like the background textures, are pretty bad. I don't remember the pixels being this big most of the time. But as far as like the models go, and like the speed in which it runs, it's okay. And yeah, I've murdered just about everyone, haven't I? Alright, first boss, Chariot. I think, yep, there it is. Also, another thing that if you are watching, if you have watched or are going to watch the other House of the Dead video I did, I'm pretty sure the blood was red in that. And in fact, in some versions you're given the option. In the PC version you have the option to put whatever blood color you want. Well, not just any color, but you have a couple options, whereas the Saturn version is default to green blood and you cannot change it. In fact, this enemy I just killed is usually fleshy colored, but even he's been turned green.
Sophie.
Like any gore related texture will be turned to that color. So like all the character models that have like exposed parts, exposed red parts, will have exposed green parts. And that enemy that was supposed to be all fleshy was just completely green. So now we're on to the second chapter, Revenge. I think that boss fight went pretty okay, all things considered. Oh yeah. And now we can shoot this, but if we don't, we go through this door. I don't remember if that was a thing I did or not in the first playthrough. So like I said, it's been a long ass time. So forgive me if you're watching these one right after the other. And you're hoping to see something new, and you're not seeing something new. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that painting, you might, in the original you are able to make out what that painting is, maybe, instead of just 6 pixels. Yeah, these are some ugly ass textures. But I mean, considering how decent the character models look, it's you know, it's a price to pay, because it's not even really about the background, is it?
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm always happy to help, even if I rarely help effectively. But yeah, all the character skins, when you change the blood color, it doesn't just, like, you'd think it would just change the color of the gunk and stuff flying out of them, but nope, all the different models have different colors added to them. Oh, there we go. And yeah, the bullet holes in the door at the beginning of this level, Falcon, are pretty intense. Oh yeah. Yeah, there's so much firing to do. I can't imagine moving all the way across the fucking controller to see. Yeah, I get that person.
Thank you.
Pretty sure I broke both these bookcases when I played the version with Christine. So I'm not going to break the next one because there's an enemy in it. And fuck that guy. Get all those maggots. That guy's gonna stay in there. He lives in there. Oh yeah, I should be shooting those, trying to get the coins and stuff.
Thank you.
But you know, once I've finished this video, not necessarily completed this playthrough, as I said I won't, I guess the only remaining way to experience House of the Dead is to just straight up do an arcade LP. Why don't we go up? If you do not shoot that, you can actually just simply go down. That particular enemy, I don't know if I mentioned it in the previous video, but when my friends and I would play this in the arcades all the time, because we actually had an arcade or two in the area, and of course, an arcade isn't worth shit if it doesn't have House of the Dead. And those guys I just shot, when I started talking about that, they're just like all silver and nice looking. We used to call those the Pepsi Man zombies. I didn't kill any of those guys. They just fucking left. This guy waited patiently for me to kill his fat friend before throwing that barrel, and I gotta respect that. Oh, don't throw your fucking knives at me. And those ones just spawn in. Every version is like that. That's not just ugly on the Saturn version. You can just see those guys flicker into existence. Oh, dang it. So yeah, I guess I'm just gonna have to bring a camera to an arcade and do an LP of House of the Dead. Then I'll have all the versions done. Oh wow, the frame rate's dying suddenly. My cursor moves just fine. Oh, but actually, speaking of which, I don't wanna commit to this particular promise, but something I was going to try to do, since it may not be available any other way. But I was entertaining the idea of straight up bringing a camera to the nearest arcade, which is unfortunately in a neighboring city, and actually doing an LP of House of the Dead Scarlet Dawn, which would be the latest one. Not necessarily the 5th, because there's House of the Dead 1 through 4, and then that one with the subtitle, which I forgot, which I actually haven't even played yet, shamefully. Oh, we're still going? I thought that was the end of his phase. It really seemed like that was the end of his phase. Okay, that's the end of his phase. But yeah, I'm entertaining the idea of just straight up bringing a camera, because my girlfriend has a really nice camera, a couple of them actually, and a tripod. And I really want to just straight up bring a camera to that arcade and do playthroughs of the new House of the Dead, as well as Virtua Cop 3. Both for the Saturn Archives series I'm doing. I mean, Virtua Cop 3 because, you know, Virtua Cop 1 and 2 originally on the Saturn. Kinda like Virtua Cop 1 being a launch title and them being very good games. I really want to play 3. I don't want to emulate arcades, because that I've tried and it's very hard. I don't know what I'm doing. Call me an idiot if you will. It's just something I don't know how to do, and I don't want to do it. It's like one shot left. There he is. That went better than expected. That's like the hardest boss in the game. I actually got really good at this game, to the point where I could play through the entire game on 1 credit in the arcades. Because we had a theater that I would go to. I would go to the mall at least like every weekend and just play it. So I got super good at this game in my youth. I have it fucking memorized. Because I also had the PC version, which I played a ton of. And it would always be like, alright, is that boss, the one I just killed, gonna be the one that makes me use a 2nd credit, or am I doing like a no death run? And I've been able to do that. Another fun thing you can do in the arcades is fucking pop in 2 credits and wield both guns. It is exhausting though. The arm you don't usually use is going to get very tired very quickly when you're holding them both up. It also increases the amount of enemies. Because like sometimes when there's 1 enemy on screen, the 2-player mode will actually have 2 enemies. Like that, right? Just then, for example, I think there might be 2 of those guys when you come in here originally.
This must be the security card.
Oh, I definitely remember the PC version being able to read that said security card. I remember commenting saying, well, yeah, it must be. It says it right on there, but we could not fucking tell. So instead of just taking like a decent texture and like scaling it down, we just simply have big old pixels. So yeah, anyways, continuing with my story about camming a Let's Play in a local arcade. I really want to do Virtua Cop 3 and the new House of the Dead. I think that arcade has Virtua Cop 3. They probably won't get House of the Dead though, because it's the Niagara region and we suck. And we don't care or like anything cool. But I've actually made an attempt to, like I went on the website because I'm like, well, what's their recording policy, right? Because a lot of businesses, you can't just record whatever you want. Like, yeah, I'm not making money off this or anything, but still some people don't like it. I think even YouTube nobodies like me might even actually get penalized for like having like places and like official symbols and logos that we don't have the rights to. So what I did was I sent this place an email asking about their policy. Let's go right. I asked about their filming policy, and they just haven't gotten back to me. You know, I worded it very like straightforward, like, hey, I'm interested in recording an arcade playthrough and doing some filming of video games on this location. Oh, it's the Pepsi Mans again. The Pepsi Man theme should play whenever these guys are here. It's the possessed Pepsi Men. The Possepsty Men, if you will. Ooh, that was a hard word to come up with. And so, I don't know. They didn't get back to me, but I'm thinking of just going anyways. Because, like, I asked, right? I asked, and they didn't say no. So that's going to be my reasoning. Yeah, exactly, yeah, Falcon. You beat me to it. I didn't look at chat until just now, but yeah, silence means compliance. More or less. So yeah, I asked and they didn't say no. So I'm just going to see if I can get away with it. And if I get kicked out, it'll be a fun moment. I'll be like, alright, the playthrough ends here because we're getting removed from the arcade. You know, it'll be fun. And it's whatever, we're never there anyways, because, like I said, it's in a neighboring city. And so it's totally whatever. I don't care if we get in trouble. We'll set up a tripod and stuff. I'll probably have a group of friends. We'll take turns switching out for Virtua Cop 3. Oops! Hopefully, I understand Virtua Cop not as popular as House of the Dead. Not a lot of people are screaming for it. But, I mean, every House of the Dead has gotten a console port eventually.
This must be the security card.
It must be. We can't tell, though, because I cannot read it. Oh, that wasn't fair. He was mostly clipping through the ground. I like these guys with the fucking vests that just swing around. They're like they're just fucking YMCA zombies. Another fucking load screen. Yeah, the boss I cannot defeat, the arcade staff. But yeah, hopefully it'll just be okay and nothing bad will happen. Again, I'm not confirming that this will happen. It really depends on if I can get a group of friends to want to actually go to Niagara, because I don't drive, so it's like, hey, everyone wants to go to, we want to all carpool to Niagara Falls, someone else drives. Probably have Kim manage the camera. She doesn't like being in videos, so I'm like, well, you can just be in the background while the rest of us take turns. But I think that'd be a pretty fun experiment. Oh yeah, fuck. Oh, I was hoping to wait till one guy... Oh yeah, that one didn't count for whatever reason. So I'm pretty sure, because I usually do, that if you shoot the hell out of one of these doors, you just go through them. Obviously the one we were just looking at. And I feel like in my first playthrough I probably did that because it was a secret I was aware of. So I've chosen not to this time. Axes are hard to shoot out of the air. You know what is easy though? Throwing axes. A group of friends and I went axe throwing. And I'd say out of the four of us, I did like second best. Throwing axes is pretty cool. Never fired a gun though. I really want to go to a gun range. Oh, that's the end of this playthrough. I wasn't keeping track of how many credits I had, so I didn't know how far it would be, but that is it. Let's take a look at the path I took. Okay. Gonna beat that boss. Took the duct room. Oh wow, we're doing a little zigzagging, and then died just before we reached the hermit type, which is the big spider. Game over. Well, if you like that, please check out the full playthrough I did with Christine on the PC version. Stay tuned for more Saturn archives in the future, and more shooters and all sorts of fun stuff. Thanks for watching.